Man, I can't wait, man. We was talking off camera, man. It's gonna be a great show. Let's talk about this fight. AJ Joshua going against Francis Ngannou. Ngannou in his second professional fight. Yo, welcome to Spectator Sporting. I'm Zach Roach, along with my partner, Mr. Adi Wally. We got a big show for y'all today. We talking boxing, and help us out with this. We got the boxing guru, the boxing expert, the boxing fanatic, Mr. Byron, and we got another guru in the building with us right now, Mr. Hard from Hard War Bangers. Man, it's going. Man, I can't wait, man. We was talking off camera, man. It's gonna be a great show. Let's talk about this fight. AJ Joshua going against Francis Ngannou. Ngannou in his second professional fight, he had one fight with Tyson Fury, which, I don't know. That could have went either way. That's very debatable what happened in that fight. As far as AJ Joshua, he's coming in. This could be a risky fight. He's a healthy favorite. I'm going to start with you, Byron, on this. What's your thoughts on Ngannou trying to pull off this massive upset?
Francis Ngannou is an absolute monster. This guy's backstory will be on Netflix in a year. I'm telling you, this man is a Cameroon native. He's worked in sand mines as a kid for less than $2 a day. He was basically an indentured servant that broke out of, his surroundings. He had to actually escape through the Sahara Desert. Ended up getting arrested in Morocco, and would eventually end up in Paris, France, where he would actually start his MMA career. But Francis Ngannou basically left the UFC as the undisputed heavyweight champion. And he always had aspirations to be a boxer. He started training in boxing when he was 22 years old in Cameroon. And so his foundation of mixed martial arts is in boxing. He always wanted to be a boxer. Right. So when he got out of his negotiations with the UFC, he wanted to come into boxing. He got a boxing fight with what is viewed as the lineal champion in Tyson Fury, and he shocked the entire world. Yeah. He went 10 rounds with the champion. He actually knocked Tyson Fury down and ended the fight, the fresher fighter. He actually did a Superman punch in the 10th round. And although he lost the fight on points, I feel like he won the fight as far as the imagination of the fans that he could actually be a heavyweight champion in boxing. Then this fight comes. And I mean, at 17-3 in the UFC, this man's a champion. He has a champion pedigree as the same as AJ does coming into this fight. And I think this is a very, very dangerous fight for Joshua. I don't understand why he would go after this guy, but this guy could actually railroad him in the heavyweight division as it pertains to the heavyweight title.
Yeah, wow, I feel you. AJ Joshua taking on a big challenge right here, hard. Yeah. What's your thoughts on this fight? I know Byron said you better be careful. AJ better be careful. What's your thoughts?
Being in the sport for a while, you know what I'm saying? I've had the opportunity to really analyze these fights, right? And what I do is I analyze the defeats specifically. And when you analyze the defeat of a fighter, then that pretty much tells you what the weak points are. You see what I'm saying? So looking at Anthony Joshua's defeats, he lost to guys that were shorter than him. Those guys had to apply a pressure to Joshua and make him miss and make him pay. So they were counterpunchers, punching in between his shots and from a lower level, which means they got probably, I guess, more ground under their feet or whatever coming up with the shots.
More torque.
Yeah. So with that being said, Ngannou is not shorter than Joshua. And anybody that you see in Joshua fight that's close to his height, Joshua beats. He's never lost to anyone his height. So what I'm going to say is that I would see Joshua either winning by points or late stoppage. Yeah. I feel like he's involved into a boxer more. So I think he's worked on his jab, and he's trying to fix. I think he's trying to fix the problem that he's been having going against these shorter guys and trying to figure it out.
Right.
But that doesn't mean he's ever lost how to fight guys his size. So
What's the advantage of? Can you explain? What's the advantage of like a shorter guy fight? Like I know we always say the taller guy got long arms and stuff. What's the advantage of a shorter guy going against a taller guy?
well, to me, what my opinion is, because I believe every trainer that trains his own style of boxing, they all have their own opinions of what can and what won't happen.
Right.
So what I would say for the shorter fighter's advantage is if you're fighting someone taller than you, then you can get lower. That means you can get under those shots and come up with counter shots.
Okay.
And you're right there to get the perfect torque for body shots. A taller fighter going against a taller fighter is, you're going to fight exactly opposite. It's going to be a box fest, or, you know what I mean? They're going to be jogging for position because they're both trying to come in. But because you're the smaller guy, you cannot afford to sit outside. Because that jab of that taller fighter is, if you're going to stay on the outside the whole time, you're pretty much giving the fight away.
Right.
So you have to work your way on the inside. But yeah, man, Joshua, late stoppage, on points. I'll put a bet against you if you're inclined to that.
I will definitely take it.
I'll tell you what I would like to see. And it doesn't involve Ngannou in there with another boxer, but I'd like to see him come after this fight, regardless if I'm wrong or right. I would like to see him box John Jones. Boom, what do you think of that?
Won't happen.
John Jones, you don't think that's a good?
Won't happen. Not into boxing.
No?
That clash would be in the cage.
Who do you think will win?
Right now? You seen
As far
Jones?
as boxing?
Yeah. Ngannou. Ngannou. And you made some great points on Joshua, but I'm going to retort.
Hey,
I'm going to retort it real soon.
man, it's a very interesting fight. I think it's a very contrasting of styles. You got the UFC guy. You got Joshua, who's more of the boxer, who's got better, like you said, as far as since every fight he has boxing. Adi, tell me your thoughts on this fight. Is it a chance Ngannou can pull off the upset?
Yeah, that's a chance. In the third round, Francis Ngannou countered Tyson Fury's 1-2 combo with a left hook, which dropped Tyson Fury in that fight. And before the final 2 rounds of that fight, I had the Cameroon King up 1 point on my scorecard.
Okay.
But the Gypsy King began a jab fest on Ngannou's dome in the final 2 rounds to win by the slimmest of margins on my scorecard.
Okay.
I had Tyson Fury winning. Yeah. I agree with the judge, Alan Craigs. He had 95-94 for Fury. Right. So that's what I did. But before those last 2 rounds, Ngannou was mostly in a southpaw stance, which negated Tyson Fury's jab. And Anthony Joshua would throw plenty of jabs in this fight to keep the powerful Ngannou at a distance. All right, so Francis Ngannou, he's got to figure out how to cut off the ring, okay, and know whenever he gets close to Anthony Joshua, he's going to clinch. Yeah. And Ngannou, do not wait for the ref to break up the clinch. Nope. Box out that clinch, fight out that clinch, similar to what the Mexican Monster did to Boo Boo and Dre. He made him pay for clinching. Okay? Right. And now Ngannou, he also ran out a little gas in those final 2 rounds too. Yeah. And he made a strong push for this fight to be 10 rounds instead of 12. Oh. And that's why this fight is 10 rounds. Yeah. Okay. And so the question for him is, did he build up enough endurance and stamina to close this fight strongly in the championship rounds? So
I think that's what people underestimate about boxing. Like once you get to that level and you boxing 12 rounds, that's a long time to be fighting. That takes a lot of endurance. And if you just flip them from UFC where you go 5 rounds,
3 rounds, 5 minutes.
Championship fights are 5 rounds.
Yeah, so that's a big difference from going, even though you're kicking and all that stuff, but going the whole 12 rounds, that's a lot.
I feel like MMA endurance is more because you can be, go from wrestling to boxing. You can go from kickboxing to, and so I feel like I honestly disagree that I actually felt that Ngannou finished the fight in the 10th round way stronger than Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury was backing up in the 12th round. And in the 10th round. And he actually, like I tell people, he did a Superman. He said before the fight, I'm gonna do a Superman punch in this fight. He did a Superman punch in the 10th round.
He did, but he didn't
And
connect.
so he didn't connect.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, the attempt in itself wasn't a fighter that was gassed in the 10th round. And we have to keep going back to the fact that this was his first professional fight.
Yeah.
This was his first professional fight, and he fought the recognized heavyweight champion of the world, and he took him to the slimmest of margins in that 10th round. And the thing is with Anthony Joshua, every single time he builds momentum for himself, he runs into a brick wall. And I don't think it's short fighters, although you are absolutely correct. I mean, dominated by Usyk, caught off guard by Ruiz. But for me, what kind of takes that point away is the second fight with Ruiz. When Joshua is focused, he destroyed Ruiz in that rematch.
Yeah, he did.
And so I don't think that he has a problem with smaller fighters, although it might look on paper that he does. I really think a lot of it is mental with him.
Okay.
And I'll go to the second fight with Usyk after the decision when he was in the ring and crying and all of this. Like, I don't think Joshua is just there as far as getting over that hump to get him to be the recognized heavyweight champion of the world. That's just my opinion.
Right.
But I think this fight is dangerous because you're gonna have to beat this guy. You're gonna have to be aggressive. You can't take off rounds without your jab. Your jab is going to have to be your main source of everything, offense.
So the longer he stays, longer the predator stay in the fight.
Yes.
It's more dangerous.
I don't think this is a guy you can weather down. I don't think Francis Ngannou is going to be less dangerous in the 7th, 8th, and 9th round. I think this is a fight where for Joshua to win, I think he has to go after him.
But Ngannou did say that he really wanted to do 10 rounds because he said he's trying to build up his endurance. He doesn't feel like he's ready for a 12-round fight. So
Wait, hold on. Wait a minute, man. I'm sorry, and I agree with what you're saying because you're making valid points. But I would also like to point out that Joshua is his marketability is his vulnerability. You see what I'm saying?
Facts.
So people watch Joshua fight. I don't believe that they're really there to see a tenacious combination. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're there because they know it's going to be an even matched fight, and anything can happen.
And
True.
True. And
So
he can get clipped, and he can clip you.
This is the target market for boxing.
Right.
This is how you fill in the seats. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's all about being matched up and having an opponent that you can say, man, this is something to see.
Well, let me ask you this: is him fighting Deontay Wilder instead of Ngannou right now a better fight?
You know what? I'm gonna be honest.
Dang, that's all I want you to be.
Man, me being American, man, I gotta go with Deontay Wilder.
No, I'm just saying, is that fight a better fight?
I always wanted to see that fight, so I'm going to see that.
So
fight.
if you're a handler for Joshua and you have Wilder and Ngannou, so why would you take that fight over Ngannou?
Because it's still marketable. Those guys got the genuine hate there. It's a fight that will sell itself.
But,
you see what I'm saying?
But which fight do you think is easier for him to win?
Honestly,
After
Wilder's last performance
against Joseph Parker.
Joseph Parker.
It depends on which Wilder's showing. So
I ain't seen good Wilder in a long time.
You gotta answer this. You said truthful answer.
So I think right now, Ngannou. Nah, man, I'm going with Wilder. I'm going Wilder.
Wow. There we go. There we go.
But can I say something else?
Yeah.
And this is just to touch on an analogy of boxing and MMA because that's what we're talking about. We have an MMA fighter going against a boxer.
Right.
All right. Now let's talk about the difference in the sports. Okay. Now when I look at boxing and MMA, me as a boxer, I analyze the sport of boxing and MMA, and I say, okay, what sport can I compare this to that everyone will understand, right? So I look at soccer. You need to have skill to only use your feet to score these goals.
That's
in a combat sport, in the sport of boxing, you have these hands, and you have rules you have to follow. And if you get knocked down, you got to get back up before the count of 10 and go back to that same sport, which is a sport of class. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean like a social standpoint of class. I mean class of intellectual combat sport. Yeah. All right. Now to compare MMA, in my opinion, I would compare it to American football. Someone throws a ball, you run them, you catch them, you drag them down, boom, this is it, you're down. All right? It's two different levels of...
I totally disagree with you.
Well,
Demetrius Johnson.
Two different levels of skill.
Demetrius Johnson.
I think it's
Anderson
harder to
Silva.
play soccer
Anderson
than
Silva.
it is to play football.
Anderson Silva. John Jones.
What?
I mean, these are artistes that can finish you in different styles.
Oh, I'm not saying
that's what I'm saying. I honestly feel like we're saying that, okay, you kind of have a one-way vision of a combat sport, and take nothing away from it. I think boxing is beautiful in itself. Right. Because there are two versions of it that you can play. You can play to not get hit and be offensive, or you can be the brawler and just go in and punch through the wall that's in front of you. But I think MMA, if I wanted somebody to look at MMA and say, show me a fighter that kind of embodies what MMA is, I tell them Demetrius Johnson. I tell them Mighty Mouse, a man who is kickboxer.
George
Oh yeah, I'm saying him too. But I'm just saying for someone who's looking at boxing and kind of is looking at MMA like, oh, that's just grab somebody. I would show them an artist like, man, this man can knock you out. This man can tap you out. This man can box you. It's a different type of combat sport. But I feel like intellect-wise,
it's a different type of skill.
Intellect-wise, you have to be way sharper when a guy can finish you with his feet or a guy can finish you with his hands.
So, okay, go ahead. Y'all go ahead.
No, I'm just saying.
Okay, go ahead.
So, all right. So the way I look at it, okay,
stop.
the way I look at it, you're not saying anything wrong, but I'm just looking at it from and I shouldn't say intellect level of the sport. What I should be saying is the skill level a fighter has to have in order to compete in this sport.
Right.
So the way I look at combat sports is if we're on our feet, all right, because that's where it's going to start, and then you got to tackle me and take me down, and then the rest of the fight is on the floor, well then I would say it turns into wrestling, correct?
Yeah.
And that would make it a mixed martial art. All right. I feel like if a good wrestler is fighting against a good striker, it's not hard for him to take him to the ground.
No.
You know what I mean? Now, I feel like it's not a handicap. It's just my preference of fight. So if it was up to me to pick what I'm going to watch as a consumer, I'd much rather watch the punching.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? This is just, I can't even explain why I'm so drawn to boxing, but boxing is my life. I will die in this sport, just like my father and his fathers before him.
Right.
So it's like, I love MMA and I love to watch it, but if I have to pick, I'm going to go with boxing. And the reason I'm going to go with boxing is because of the contact,
And I think you got to punch in a certain area.
I think everybody here loves the sport for every reason that you just stated.
But the variables of how the scoring goes in MMA, you see what I'm saying?
The politics of boxing.
That's a whole other story.
Yeah,
that's a whole other.
I agree. I'm sorry. I love it. I love it because y'all that was very entertaining. That was real quick. Okay, I know you already said that Joshua's gonna win this fight, but what does he have to prepare for, and what does he not need to do? How could he be upset if in this fight?
Well, I think if Joshua learned anything from the Fury and Ngannou fight, is a good jab works.
Okay.
So, and he touched on it. And and that lets me know that you know what you're talking about when you're talking about boxing. Yeah. Because I saw it too, and I said, man, it's gonna come down to the jab.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
So Joshua actually has a good jab when he uses it.
Right.
So I think it's gonna come down to that. I'm sure he's gonna watch the film. Joshua work on his jab.
All right, same question to you. What do Joshua have to do to prevent the upset, may we say?
Yeah, well, Anthony Joshua, he has to put on his track shoes for this one, okay? Yeah. Similar to his strategy against Andy Ruiz in that rematch against Andy Ruiz Jr. And in the last decade, that was the lightest weight Anthony Joshua ever fought at 237 pounds, okay? He was sticking and moving, jabs, straights, and feints with that 6'6" frame, okay? He was keeping Ruiz at a distance, and whenever he got close, he would clinch him, okay? Right. But Francis Ngannou, he is much more athletic than Ruiz. He has much more strength. He's bigger and he's taller. And in the first fight, Ruiz TKO'd Anthony Joshua, okay? But Joshua is coming off a very impressive victory over the southpaw from Sweden, Otto Wallen, okay? And in the 5th round of that fight, he connected with a nice right-left hook combination, which nearly dropped Otto Wallen. And then after that 5th round, Wallen refused to come out of his corner. AJ won by the stoppage. Okay, so that was a very impressive fight for him. But if AJ gets extra aggressive in this fight, like he did against Ruiz in that first fight, when Ruiz connected with a left hook which wobbled AJ, and then we saw what Ngannou did to Fury in the 3rd round. If he gets a little too aggressive, he will be dropped. So Joshua needs to float like a butterfly.
All right.
Facts.
What about you, Byron? How does Joshua go to 28-3?
He has to.
You got Ngannou.
He has to jab. Like Joshua, I mean, let's make no mistake about it. This is Ngannou's 2nd professional fight.
Right.
Anthony Joshua should jab. Adi hit on it perfectly. He should jab. He should move. But the problem with Anthony Joshua is Anthony Joshua doesn't always do what Anthony Joshua is supposed to do. And I think that this fight will ultimately be won and lost in the clinch. And I think that if Anthony Joshua tries to institute a clinch attack and counter his counterattacks by grabbing, he's going to find that he's grabbing a brick wall. And I believe that Fury fight was close as it was because Fury could not clinch and kind of big boy dominate Francis Ngannou.
Right.
He lost the clinches, and Fury had to stay away from him. And so it's how much of that clinch is going to be instituted in his offense is going to show where this fight is going to go. And you're absolutely correct. I am Captain Chaos in this fight. My brain says Anthony Joshua, easy, 10 rounds. But it's something itching. And what it is I think bad Anthony Joshua comes out at the worst possible time. Because see, Francis Ngannou, be it his 2nd professional fight, he is a maker of KOs. He's looking for it, and if he gets it, he's finishing you. And Fury felt that power, and I feel like Fury has one of the better chins in that division. And the fact that he can knock Fury down, I know he can knock Joshua out.
But Joshua did say in the face-off, Fury's been knocked down before.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. He just know how to. He's resilient. He gets
and you got knocked out by Andy Ruiz.
Wilder knocked him out twice. You know.
Yeah, he did.
So it's just I think what's gonna come through in this fight is not so much that I don't think that analytically Joshua has everything he needs to win this fight, but he's not a dog on the inside.
Okay.
And he's about to fight a dog.
Damn.
You know, all right. So, no. Look, the Ngannou has just faced Fury.
Yeah.
Right? You look at Fury, and you know when you look at a fighter, you look at someone who you expect to see somebody in shape, right?
Fury, he was not. Okay, that's a great point.
You know,
that's
Fury,
a great point.
He never looks like he's out there like he's been.
But I don't think he was top tier for that fight.
But for that fight, he was a little bit more pudgier than usual, and you know, who's to say what shape he was in? But the reason I bring that up is because what do we know about Joshua every time you see him step in the ring?
He looks like the
champion
of the world. Yeah, he looks
phenomenal. This man looks
If it's one thing I've noticed, man, those first couple of rounds for a Joshua fight are typically slow. But for some strange reason, his opponents are always sweating. I don't know if you guys noticed that. So it's always like he keeps his opponents working. I don't know if he's just like, if you pay attention, Joshua's like just standing there holding his guard up, coming forward. He might move his head a little bit, but he's not really wasting a lot of energy.
He don't.
And then if the other guy that he's boxing with is generally the guy that's moving a lot or trying to throw a lot of punches or whatever. This is genuinely.
But that's
what I
also a 6'6" frame that's controlling.
Absolutely.
And so I'm telling you, that's what a lot of people look past that. That's what makes Fury great. Because he has this pudgy, I'm a dad frame, but then he gets to lean on you.
He can move like
he can lean on you. Yeah. He can make you hold. He punches out when he needs to. He holds on. And my thing is, that clinch is a part of Joshua's game. It is. Yeah. But more so than his jab. His jab should be the highlight of his offense, but it's not. And I think that's why he's 27-3. And he's not been, regarded as champion of the heavyweight division.
Let me ask you this. Are either one of them enrolled in VADA?
What do you mean?
As far as the voluntary drug testing association.
That I don't know. But I do know that the UFC has one of the stricter regiments as far as the PEDs and all of that. Okay. And he's coming out of that. So if we're talking about Ngannou and his...
Well, we're not just talking about Ngannou. We're talking about both of them.
Okay.
All right. So I know a couple of years back I checked, and Anthony Joshua was not enrolled. All right. I can't speak for Ngannou, but I can tell you this. I got a couple of pro fighters. We went around the nation and we fought. And typically what happens is that if you're not enrolled in VADA, the commission will do a test on you on the night of your fight. So I think what's happening in VADA is that when you enroll, it's right before your camp starts. So while you're camp, you get tested randomly.
Right.
All right? So with that being said, and this information being put out here, if someone's not enrolled in VADA, would you agree with the statement that everybody is on a cycle and then everybody's cycling off before they go to see the commission before they fight?
That's a rabbit hole conversation.
Ooh, that's deep right there. I hear what you're saying, though, but I try not to think about it because
But as it pertains to this fight, I don't think, no.
Well, what if they're both not enrolled in VADA? And then you would have to assume, just based off of what we're talking about, if one of them are enrolled in VADA, then that's something to contest for the opponent to be enrolled in because it's an unfair advantage, correct?
Yeah. But I don't think Francis Ngannou coming out of the sanctioning bodies that he's had with mixed martial arts.
All right. Brian, real quick, who's winning the fight?
Man.
You say you got Ngannou. What, you got a prediction?
Knockout 8.
Knockout 8?
Knockout 8.
Ngannou, you got Ngannou.
Ngannou knocked Joshua's out.
What about you, Bob?
I'd like to put some money on that.
Okay, it's on some camera, so if y'all do bet, it's on camera.
So how much you got? I got Joshua, and I'm willing to put up $250.
Oh, wow.
We can go 400.
This is a second fight. This is a second fight in his professional career.
You're saying he's got.
I'm just taking the underdog.
Gentleman's bet.
Yeah,
$20.
Gentlemen's.
$50.
I can do
50.
All right.
You heard it here. Joshua, you better be training. So when will Joshua win the fight? You got a prediction? What round?
So I think what Joshua's gonna do, and I honestly feel like this is his game plan. He's gonna go in there, he's gonna fill him out, he's gonna use the jab the first couple of rounds. He's gonna look for what openings he sees while he's moving around and observing them like he does every fight. Because he's already knowing that Ngannou is coming out here and he's looking out for that knockout shot. I got the fight definitely going until late rounds. Ngannou tiring out in the 9th.
Okay.
Possible stoppage in the 10th or 11th.
No, it's
only 10.
Only 10.
I'm going to say the 11th.
No, only 10 rounds.
I'm sorry, 10.
10 rounds?
10th round.
10th round.
10th round.
Knockout in the 10th.
If it happens. If the knockout happens, it's going to happen in the 10th.
Okay. So he's saying basically decision.
Okay. Decision.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to be clear with you, but
I got you.
It's because I honestly see him, it's going to points because it's a 10-round fight. So I would say points, but if a knockout occurs, it's definitely going to be.
I got you.
In the 10th round.
All right, give me a prediction.
Yeah. Well, Ngannou, he's 30. He'll be 38 in August. AJ's 34. Ngannou's career is coming to a close. Like Byron was saying, AJ's career has been up and down and up and down and up and up. Right now he's about to go down in the 7th round. I got Ngannou winning by a knockout.
There we go. You know what? I'm gonna roll with Harv. I'm gonna roll with Harv. I got AJ Joshua with a knockout in the 9th round.
Oh wow.
All right.
There we go.
That's the easiest I can
You watching Spectator Sporting, Zach Roach, Mr. Adi Wiley. Shout out to Harv from Harv War Bangers. Shout out to Boxing Guru Expert, Mr. Byrne. We out. Peace.